Hey, everybody. Going to give everybody just a few minutes to log on. Um, See if we can get some followers, some people watching. I know that we'll have several that'll go back and watch it. We have some that watch live because they want to comment to win 2 meals from Brewster's this week. So, and then we'll have people that'll go back and watch it a little bit later too, I think, as well. So, um, I am Sherry Ferguson, President and CEO of the Portland Chamber of Commerce. And here on Portland Connections, we are glad to have Derrick Miller, owner of Exit Realty, Real Estate.
How's everybody doing today?
So you actually don't just own Exit Realty Garden Gate team. You actually have several locations. You want to tell us a little bit about how many locations you have?
Absolutely. We've Portland's our main office, obviously here on Main Street in Portland, but I also own the White House exit office as well as the Gallatin exit office. I've been the owner going on a decade now, so we've been in the community for quite a while. I started out as a real estate agent in 2004. We used to be independent company Garden Gate Realty and Auction, and I took that over in late 2011. So we're going on 10 years now. But yes, we cover pretty much all of North Davidson County, Sumner County, Robertson County. So we're kind of a
big deal. How many agents do you have now?
I'm sorry?
How many agents do you have now?
We have 101 company wide now.
Wow.
So it started out with 9 and now we have 101. So
that's great. That's great. I know you guys do a lot in the community and we do appreciate you guys being here. Reason I wanted to have you on is everybody is always wondering, how is the real estate market? So I know you guys are in it every day, and with the COVID-19, what has that done for you and how has things changed a little bit?
Well, it's definitely changed a little bit. Thank goodness that our franchise Exit provides a lot of mobile technology tools that we're always training on. We have several classes throughout the past couple of years, just on the mobile technology. Thank goodness that they do have it, that they offer all of us agents, brokers, and owners as well, because we have really utilized a lot of those tools over the past month and a half, 2 months. Just playing it safe, CDC standards, showing property. We're still extremely busy. A lot of people will hear gloom and doom, on the media. Just be careful what you watch out there, because the interest rates are extremely good right now. We're turning a lot of renters into buyers right now just because the rates are so good. It's actually cheaper to own a home than it is to rent one. So yeah, just definitely be careful what you listen to out there, because the housing market has not slowed whatsoever. We're still extremely busy. Any quadrant that's close to Nashville is going to remain busy, just because we're so close, to Nashville area, and we're right between Bowling Green, Kentucky, and Nashville anyway. So Portland's always had a pretty good, hot market. Got a lot of folks that travel from here to work from Kentucky as well as all over. So.
Well, we're in a great location here in Portland. What is our inventory like right now? I mean, I know that, people sometimes struggle during these great markets to find a house that they're really looking for because the inventory's down. So what kind of inventory do we have right now?
We're still low on inventory. New construction permits are being pulled in Sumner County every day still. There's still a lot of new construction going up, but a lot of those are still properties that people are building for themselves. It's not to be listed to be put on the market. So you've got a 50-50 shot there. There's still new construction going up every day, but we still have a shortage of new construction, and we have had. We've been in a boom for a while, and the Nashville market has kind of pushed that onward towards the bedroom communities of Sumner, Robertson, Davidson counties. And just looking at the inventory right now, we're about 10% less than what we were last year. But we've also got a lot of buyers that's still out there looking, for properties as well. So this is in no way affected really as far as people listing. What's initially going to happen? I've been a broker now for almost 10 years, so I've kind of seen some of the trends on what's going to happen. Typically in the spring, we are extremely busy because a lot of folks are getting back their income taxes. They're wanting to put that money towards down payments, etc. The COVID-19 has kind of set us back for spring just a little bit, even though we are still extremely busy. Summer, it usually slows down a bit. Kids getting out of school, obviously folks wanting to go on vacation. I think it's really turned the tides this year just a little bit, because we're expected to have a really busy summer and fall. So I've told the agents, get ready, because this year you may want to think about vacation, because we're going to be busy through the summer and fall.
What about interest rates? So they're still really good. Do you see those going up at all, and people needing to do anything immediate? So, or do you think they're gonna be able to take their time and find the right place for themselves?
I think they'll be okay the rest of the year. The Fed usually meets a couple times a year. I was actually kind of surprised when they lowered them at the first of the year, which is probably a great thing because none of us saw this epidemic coming. But the rates are going to remain stable, I believe, all the way through 2020. They will probably rise just a little bit next year, maybe early quarter next year. They'll have to climb probably just a little bit. So if you're thinking about buying and selling, it's definitely a great time this summer.
So with this COVID-19, we're supposed to social distance. We're not supposed to be hugging and shaking hands and all that good stuff. So what kind of technology are you guys using to be able to show houses? Because that puts you in close contact with people. If you're showing somebody how a house or, closing on documents and that kind of thing, what is that doing for you?
We've had a lot of technology really kick in over the past 2 months, and a lot of the closings has been mobile. As far as the documents being signed, in a separate room. I've always been the type of broker that wanted to go to my closings, so it kind of hurt just a little bit to not be able to go and shake hands, take pictures, all that good stuff. So I don't want people getting the fear that real estate's a relationship business. It should always be a relationship business. Technology is great to have because we have utilized it, but it should still always remain a relationship business. So it's kind of been hard not to be able to reach out and hug your clients or shake their hands, especially your first-time buyers. This is a big deal for them. They're excited. It's their first purchase of a home. So a lot of the ways that we've been doing businesses, it has been a little different. We've not been able to have more than 5 people in our offices, and of course we have clean over the past 2 months. But it's just being prepared, following the CDC guidelines, like we have been. As far as showing the properties, a lot of times, you cannot show a property legally unless you actually show it. You can't really write an offer on it. So it's been a little difficult. We've had some people saying, well, we'll just buy it sight unseen. I don't typically like to do that. It's almost like buying a car too, sight unseen. You kind of want to kick the tires and look at it, right?
That's right.
So it's been interchanging. It'll forever change the market, just going through this epidemic. But the mobile technology and everything that we've had has been great. And it's really helped us, as far as video tours. Our company has been offering that to a lot of our buyers and sellers as far as video technology. We have several hosts out there that we can do that with a lot of our customers and clients. And it's been great. It really has, as far as the communication.
Well, I think in the end, a lot of these technologies that we're using now, we will be glad that we have them to accompany the old-fashioned networking. And, as the chamber, it's a people business too. We're all about connections, and our connections now are in video and these face-to-face connections are not happening. And it's a struggle for people that are really we like people. We like to be around people. So, it's one of those difficult times for us.
It has been. It's been a setback a little bit because I'm always liking to interact with my real estate agents here on our team and to answer questions, and I do a lot of training for our company as well. So been on a lot of Zoom calls over the past 2 months, working with training and talking to the agents as far as are they running into any difficulties and everything. So it's actually been a really good communication tool. As far as coming into the office, getting the listings put in, everything. My office manager, Lori, has been fantastic. And my other two as well, Chelsea with Gallatin and Carrie over in White House. We've had to adapt to change, and they did a really, really good job with it.
Looks like somebody, I don't know if you can answer this or not. It says, when do you expect most people who will be displaced because of the 109 bypass be out looking for houses? Do you know if the state has started buying up land?
I have heard that the state is starting the process on that. So it's a really good question. And as the city broker, I'd be glad to ask the mayor about that. He's going to know a little bit more about that than I would right now. I haven't heard an update on that in a little while. So I'll make a note of that to check for you.
Yeah, I think that might be good too. The next time I have the mayor on, that we talk about the 109 bypass. It is something that they were supposed to start purchasing land, I think the second quarter. So now would be about the time. but I'm not sure where they are on it. After with all the COVID-19, I don't know if everything just kind of, is laying by the wayside. State funds and state roads don't move real quickly. So,
well, and then this epidemic happening too. I mean, there could have been a lot of laid off employees that we don't know about. It could have fell by the wayside for a little while. So it might get pushed out to the third and fourth quarter. We're not sure, but that's a good question.
I think I have seen some surveying going on off and on. So I'm thinking that we should be able to get an update. Hopefully next week. I'll try to have the mayor on next week, and we'll talk about that 109 bypass. I'm not sure how many people were going to be displaced in the original. I know that it will be hard for some to have the bypass, but it is such a needed road to come through and to help us with all the traffic that comes through.
No, I agree.
Yes.
Anytime through Portland, it's in the afternoon, especially after lunchtime, you have a lot of tractor trailer truck traffic through here. So,
traffic lightened a little bit, but it was more cars. The trucks have still been coming through, but I've noticed that it's picked up. When we're located right here on the main highway, you can tell. Some days you pull out over this last few 6 weeks, and you see that the traffic is lighter, but there's still a lot of trucks out there.
Right.
Because they still got to get stuff to the stores.
Well, the trucks have been holding our country together. So
that's right. This is true. I get angry at them when they're in my way, but I really am thankful for them.
Right.
For the most part. And I'll tell you, one of my pet peeves is when they pull over on the interstate, but on the ramp. So about the time, yes, I'm like, if you would just go on up, because sometimes you can't get over, and they're in your way, and so but that's my only pet peeve really with them for the most part. But no, I do appreciate the truck drivers and all the people on the front lines, because they are holding us together. Dawn did say COVID-19 has taken precedence over many things, and this is true. We are. Everything's kind of going by the wayside, and we can't do what we normally do. So just like the chamber, no strawberry festival this weekend. I mean, we would have been.
I think that's heartbreaking for a lot of us. Of course, our company loves doing stuff in the community, and the strawberry festival is one of my personal favorites. So that's it's kind of hurt our feelings a little bit this year, but hey, we've got a good while to plan for an amazing turnout next year.
It will. We'll have a bigger and better next year is what we're planning on. So we'll have already taken a lot of our deposits and moved them to next year. So that helped us a little bit, not losing all of that money. We did lose some, of course, but we're excited. The lineup, we're going to try to keep most of that the same, so we can just kind of roll right into next year. But you guys are very active in the community, and lately everybody has been seeing some mural going up over there. So you want to tell us a little bit about how you're beautifying the downtown area?
Absolutely. Well, I've had a ton of people. We trended really fast in one day over this. I have always wanted to tattoo the side of our building, so to speak, as far as putting up a mural. And the reason I wanted to is just because I was born and raised here in Portland as well. And my community has made me a great living, and I really respect and love the people of Portland. And I wanted to give something back. And by saying giving something back, I wanted to put some history out there, on the side of our wall. So I'm not going to go into detail exactly what it's going to be. I want everybody to kind of be a little bit surprised as much as I want to be surprised when it's done. But Manuel, he's a great artist. He's done a lot of work all over the state, so he is very talented, and he's doing a great job with everything. So I'm excited to see it done as a finished product, and hopefully if the weather holds out for the next couple of days, he'll have it done next week.
I do kind of wish that we could do a cover it up while he paints.
Yeah.
And then wait until he's completely finished and then uncover it, because everybody's already going by and getting pictures, and it's great. And but I'm telling you, it's amazing. When he did the first mural, as we're looking at it, we're thinking, oh, that looks good. And then he'd come back and he'd add something. We're like, oh, it looks even better. So I know that's going to happen with yours as well. So,
well, part of that's my fault, because I would have a few ideas late at night and just write it down. I'm like, oh, what about this? And he's like, yeah, we can do that too. I'm like, I promise that's the last thing I'm going to throw out there. But he's dealt with me on it. He's been very patient, but he is a great artist. He does it.
Honestly, he loves to keep getting information, because I think that's how he as an artist works as well. I think that he just likes, as it's growing, he starts seeing different things as well. And when you start adding things, it helps him to develop that vision. But he
Right.
does have a great eye, and it's amazing to watch him work, to come out with
Right.
those spray cans and make that happen.
Oh, absolutely. He did a great job on the alley, and it's almost to the point where I would like to maybe try to get some of the other businesses in town that's actually got a wall that they can do, a mural on, maybe like a friendly competition, one up me, do something, do something with your building. If you got to, this is our square. This is the heart of Portland right here. So I think it's a good conversation piece. It really is.
It is. And I think it will bring people when we can start traveling again. At this moment, where traveling is off limits. Nobody's supposed to, they really don't want people from Kentucky coming here. We,
even though we're that close. But
I know I keep bringing that up because he was so mad at us. But anyway, I think that this will be an opportunity. We have the crate, we have the murals that are going up, we have 5 chefs and occasions, and we have dates on by museum. So there's a lot of things that as we gradually add things, I think it's just going to be a great location for people to come and do more than just stop by, or as a just driving by. They can actually stop and take photos. So
absolutely. I think it's a great conversation piece. Make a game out of it, see if they can tag your business or something, do a giveaway, do something. I think that is, I think it's money well spent, and it's putting something back into your community as far as being able to show the history and, your love for Portland.
Yes, you've got some people here saying, thankful to Exit for helping us relocate to Portland last summer. So some of your customers, past customers, are on here.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
But you guys are so great to be a part of the involved in our community and in our chamber. And like I say, real estate is still going, which is kind of surprising. I kind of felt like when we all had to hunker down and lock ourselves in our house, and I was afraid that the real estate market was going to kind of be stagnant for a while, but surprisingly, it's just not.
I actually never did fear this. I've actually been in it long enough to say that I lived through the recession through 2007 to 10. It took a few years to come out of that. And this is why, if I can explain really fast why this is different now versus then. Back then, the interest rates were 6 and 7%. Okay. We had a ton of inventory on the market back in those years. And now the interest rates is like 3.25%, which is great. I don't think they'll go much lower than that, but it's 3.25%, and we have a shortage of inventory. So when you fall back on the days of supply and demand, we're still in demand. And back then we had a ton of supply. So one thing that I have figured out in life, the real estate market will always pull the economy out of anything. It always will. I always watch the auto industry and the real estate market. Those two things in general will let you know where the world is headed and the economy is going.
Well, somebody mentioned Bloomingdale's, one of their favorite places to shop. This is true. Bloomingdale's is also something that people travel here to do. So thank you for mentioning that. I will tell you that I know that people are looking, when I received a loan on a house and I had 7% interest, I thought I was doing great. That's
my first house was 7%. It was 6.5%. My first house was, and I thought that was great.
And if you got under 7, I mean, you were like top of the world. Well, but this also goes back, if you go back to the mid 80s, maybe, or early 80s, my father-in-law built a house, and by the time he got done with that house, it was at 18% interest.
Yeah.
So you're talking a credit card.
Right. So, I've heard these stories before. Of course, I was a little fella back in the early mid 80s, but it's my mom was telling me that story one time that her first house that her and my dad got together was like 18 point something percent. I thought, wow, that's that's pretty bad. But
I know it's crazy how to think that we're sitting here with a 3 and a 4% interest rate as just the norm. So,
and I think we'll see that again. I think we'll continue to see that all the way through the end of the year, probably even through the first quarter of next year, because it's going to set us back just a little bit with some folks that's been laid off or just now getting back into getting to work, restaurants, industry like that. I know our nurses and doctors and everybody else has been on the front lines. They've essential. Actually, a lot of folks are more essential than what they think as far as the truck drivers and everybody that's been running the economy. So
this is true. We do. sit back and think about a little bit different about how we operate. Like I say, the technology that we have to be able to show houses and to be able to close on loans, and who would have ever thought you'd be closing on a loan and social distancing, but
Right.
we are today. So but any new subdivisions or anything in Portland? Because I know sometimes that we've got some, the state has allowed us to start issuing more building permits and things. So you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
And the sewer taps and things like that. That's great news. We have got a couple I know of for a fact that is coming up very affordable as far as the price range is coming up. I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't guess I should say what prices they may be yet because I'm really not sure myself.
Yeah,
but
right.
I know that they're in two really good areas in Portland, and they will probably be in or right under the 250 area. So very affordable, especially with those interest rates right now too.
And what kind of square footage are they looking at building in those areas?
I think you're looking at the 13 to 1600 square foot with garages.
Okay. All right. Great. Somebody said I appraised a house this morning and the borrower was getting a 2.9% rate.
That's the cheapest one I've ever heard of so far. That's a good one. That's a really good one. If they got that, they got an amazing deal.
That's
You
right.
think about that versus a lot of these townhouses and stuff. Actually, I don't think my clients would mind, but they were paying about $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse apartment. And just to throw it out there, I mean, their house payment majorly decreased from that, and it's theirs. They own it.
Right.
So you're paying someone else's mortgage. Why not? But why not invest in yourself? So
well, and you have to think about when you're paying that rent, they're factoring in the upkeep of the property and the taxes and the insurance. So all of that, that's the reason that you're paying more than a house note, because somebody's got to keep it up. And so if you're renting it, then that's what they're expecting you to do with that rent that is above and beyond. So if there's any way possible, and if people don't have or don't feel that they can buy a house because of their credit, I know that you have some great folks that you work with that will help them to get that back in line. It will help them to do a few things that will help them to raise their credit score and make them able to get in line to buy a house.
We do. We have a lot of great lenders that works with our agents and offices, and they have coaching programs. If it's something that's very minor on your credit, a lot of people think that they've got to have all this money to put down. You don't. You do not. There's great loan programs out there. THGA, rural development. Portland is all rural development still. There's bits and pieces of different areas that you will apply for that loan, and you'll probably get it. So. You don't have to have $20,000 or $30,000 down. A lot of people, and it's my job to educate on that. So just throwing it out there, you don't have to have that. You can actually close one with $0 down. That's totally fine and not unheard of these days.
So what on these rural development loans, the hardest part is to not have your 20% down so that you're not paying the PMI mortgage insurance. So with the those, are you able to not have to pay the PMI with those?
It just depends on like the FHA versus rural development. There's a lot of different terminology out there for that. So PMI is going to be a must unless it gets in between that 80-20 bracket, I believe, as far as your equity that you have built up in the homes. If you do have to pay PMI, it probably wouldn't be that long right now because the way that house values are going up. I mean, the appraisals is coming up really good every 2 years. Just to throw this out there, a home that I sold 2 years ago to some clients was able to make a 20% profit off of it closing today. So in that situation, the way that house values is coming up, even if you had to have PMI insurance on your home loan, it would drop off relatively soon.
I have somebody that wants to know, what's the lowest credit score that one could have to get a first-time homeowner's loan?
That's a good question. Right now, they have raised up a few of the restrictions and stuff like that. If you guys will send me a private message on Facebook, I can get you guys with a lender so they can actually answer that question a little bit better for you than I can. The rules and regs change so much on mortgage industry. We keep up with it a lot, but it's hard to keep up with right now, especially through the changes of the economy and everything. I've seen 580, just to throw that out there. As far as being approved.
Well, also, I think that one of the key factors is to go get pre-approved before you start looking, because there's nothing worse than starting to look for a house and finding out that you don't qualify for that amount of that large of a note. So it's really good to get get pre-approved, and it doesn't cost you anything
No.
for them to check out and to see what you're approved for.
And it really won't hurt your credit. Some folks think that's going to bring your credit score way down. That's not the case. They're just doing a preliminary just to see. And it's kind of our company policy too, as far as knowing what you're approved for, so we can hit the ground running for you. Properties are still moving really fast. So in that process, it takes you, which it could take a day, it could take a week to get your approval and everything done. There's really no sense in going to look at a property and getting your hopes up, like you said, unless you know that dollar amount of what you're actually going out there to afford.
Right. And I will say that from experience, it's best to look at a little bit less than what you want, because you're always can go up. You're never going to go down.
Exactly.
I mean, I always get wide-eyed when I start looking at something. And so if you always look at the a little bit less than what your max is, then you have a little bit of wiggle room there. Right. Than to go with that highest end there.
And it's always good to have a little bit of wiggle room. Even if it's a $10,000 interval, that's a lot of money. But at the same time, on a payment, it's not. You may be looking at $20, per 10 grand or something like that. So.
Well, anything else you think that people might want to know about the homeowners market and what's going on here with that?
A lot of the lender friends that I'm talking to, it's a great time to refinance too. If you're in your home, I'm not, we sell them all the time. I'm not trying to pressure you to do that today, but if you're happy where you're at, maybe you have a little bit higher interest rate. It's a good time to think about going ahead and get that refinanced as well. I don't know if everybody's tired of each other from being quarantined for the past 2 months, and you've decided you want to sell, but it is a really good time this summer, especially right now. It's still busy right now. We're turning in a lot of contracts. We're still playing it safe with social distancing, showing the houses like we should. But if you are thinking about selling, we'd be glad to help you.
Well, and like I say, we have some great lenders here in town, and I know that they would be happy to talk to people, whether it's refinancing or being pre-approved. That refinancing, there's a line as to where it's worth it and not, and they can help you work through that too, because you will have closing costs that come with that. But with, like you were saying, is the value of homes that have gone up, it really sometimes can be worth that, especially if you're going to get a 2.95 or whatever. That's crazy.
Hey, if you're still in the threes, you're doing really, really good. Like you said, even 12, 14 years ago, they were 6.25%, 7%. And that was a great rate back then. So
yes,
a lot of people ask me all the time, are they going to go to 0%? No, we won't see it at 0%.
Well, and I think that the president did mention, or when they were talking, they did talk about 0% loans, but that was not truly 0% loans. I think that was a little bit confusing. Everybody thought, I'm not going to have to pay any interest. But
that is confusing for a lot of folks. That's on the APR. That's mainly like auto loans, credit cards, stuff like that, where you can get a good 0%, like on a credit card or a car loan. But I don't think we'll ever see that on a house note ever.
Somebody says, always pay extra every month and get it paid for in half the time. That is always good advice. You can also have it to where you pay twice a month, so that you can pay extra that way. You can pay, we actually have pay ours every week.
Yeah.
So they deduct out of our account every week. So in the end, we're actually paying more because they divide it over 4.
And if you just send in a payment principal only, at the end of the year, even just one, if you can afford just one, it will actually knock it down 5 years on a 30-year note. So that's very good information. And it's actually very true. A lot of folks, you don't have to pay, every month for 30 years. If you're able to actually pay it off quicker, then by the time you pay all the principal and interest on your home, if you did a 30-year mortgage, you would pay double for it. So it would definitely be wise to make at least 1 or 2 extra payments a year if you can afford it. And like you said, even biweekly payments, that's a really good option too. And
you can also take those tax returns and pay those. And so it's sometimes that's a good way to do that. So always, just like she says, even if you take how much a house payment would be and then divide it over how many payments you're making, just make that you're making an extra payment, however you do.
Absolutely. Just all you got to do is call your lender, your mortgage company, and tell them, hey, I want to apply this one to the principal only. That way, they don't take the interest charges out on you too, and they'll do it for you. They'll be glad to. A lot of loans doesn't have any prepayment penalties nowadays. They used to a long time ago, but now you can usually pay one off without getting charged for that.
Yes, I don't see much of that anymore in in many ways. So yeah, I think that a lot of things have changed, and it's ever changing. So I'm glad we have you guys to keep us up to date on everything that's going on.
Well, absolutely. We appreciate our community, and thank you for all the years of business and believing in us. We believe in you guys too. This is just a minor setback as far as us being out in the community with events and everything. But again, we'll have a great Strawberry Festival next year, so it'll be one for the books to remember.
I definitely agree. So thank you and your team. You have a great team over there at Exit Realty Garden Gate, and we do appreciate all that you do. And Shelly Gregory's on here. Hey, Shelly.
Hi, Shelly.
But yes, you guys, like I say, just if we can do anything for you and get your information out there, you just let us know too.
Absolutely. Well, we're officially open. We've abided by the guidelines, so now we've officially went stir crazy. So we are back open to the public this week. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Derrick, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Sherry.